So I'm here today on the Arcadia to Nelly Bay hike. I was here all day yesterday in this area, location scouting, and I found a location way up top the mountain where I'm going. So I'll go there for sunset, and I want to get a panorama looking to the north and to Horseshoe Bay. Today it's a bit cloudy, and it looks like the clouds are starting to break towards the west, so we might get a decent sunset. But if not, the clouds should at least add a bit of atmosphere, so I should still be able to get an image. And it's not too bad of a hike up here, about 1.5 miles with a decent amount of elevation gain. So yep, I'm gonna keep going and get to the spot. So this spot that I'm going to actually isn't too hard to get to. I just follow the trail up to the top of the mountain, then I climb up some rocks just to go to the highest point, which is kind of good, so after sunset I don't have to hike too far off trail back in the dark, so that's not too bad. So I've reached the spot here, or at least I think so. Yeah, it's right up there. There's rocks you can't really see behind the tree, but that's where I'm going because it gets a nice view of Horseshoe Bay and the mountains down there. So yeah, it is a decent climb to get up there, and I still have over an hour before sunset, so I got plenty of time to go up there, get set up, fine-tune my composition, and just wait for the light to get good. So I have my camera all set up here. I've already leveled my tripod and locked in my camera with my composition. And I'm already starting to take some images just because we're getting some real nice sunlight, and the way the clouds are looking, I'm not sure if we'll get any light later. So I want to take these shots now while we have dramatic light on the foreground, just in case I want to do a time blend later, or maybe that this image will come out better more than an image taken at sunset, because we still have about a half hour until sunset. But yeah, we're getting some real nice light. So I'm just doing a panorama right now, starting from the far left to the right, and my main subject is Horseshoe Bay. So I'm going to make sure to put Horseshoe Bay in the center of the image, but right now, while I'm taking the pictures, I'm not too worried about putting it in the center, just because I'm going to crop the panorama later, so I just want to try and get as much of the scene as possible, so I have more to work with in post when I actually edit the image. And then right now, I am getting some highlights that are blown out with no detail in them, just because I'm shooting straight into the sun, so there's really nothing I can do about it. And if I expose for the highlights, then it'd just be way too dark and it'd make the image look a little bit unnatural. So I'm fine with the highlights being blown out for this image here. And I'm just focusing just about a third of the way through because I don't have anything in the foreground. It's just the big open scene behind me. So I'm not going to be doing any focus stacking or anything like that, just making a simple panorama. So we're getting some real nice sunlight now, so I'm just taking pictures of the panorama just because the light's changing so drastically and casting different conditions on my foreground here. And also within my panorama, I found just a vertical image that I kind of like that has the light just casting off the mountains over there, and it looks pretty good. So I'm taking that image and I'm bracketing for it. I'm shooting at 1/10 of a second, f8 ISO 100. And that's what it should be exposed for. Then I'm also underexposing so I can get all the details in the cloud because I'm bracketing these images. So I'll shoot at about 1/50th of a second, so not too much of the sky's blown out, so that I can blend with the foreground to make it a balanced image. Otherwise the sky would be way too blown out and the foreground would be way too dark. So and then for the foreground, I'm exposing 1/4 of a second, f8 ISO 100. I'm getting pretty lucky and we're getting some real nice light. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to wait until the sun's right before it goes behind the mountain. And then I'll take images for a panorama because hopefully that's when the light will be most dramatic and we'll get some decent color in the sky. And I'm also using a graduated filter, a 3-stop grad filter, and a polarizer as well. But no 10-stop filter or anything like that, just because it's not necessary for this scene. And using a 10-stop filter with a panorama is pretty difficult because it has to expose for so long and the light changes so much in that time that it'll just make it, when you blend it together, the images won't look right together. So now all the sunlight is gone, the sun's gone behind the mountain, so I decided to stop doing a panorama just because it would look real flat. Even though we're going to get some nice light in the sky, I decided I don't want to time blend it, so I want to use the shot with just the sunlight in it because I think it'd look best, because otherwise without the sunlight the scene would look very flat. But I'm still taking some images, so I switched to a landscape orientation, and what I'm doing is I'm focusing with just Horseshoe Bay in just a little bit of the foreground, and then the rest is the sky, because we're getting some real nice light in the sky, and also the clouds are pretty dramatic. So we'll just have the shape of Horseshoe Bay in the bottom, maybe quarter of the scene, then the rest will be clouds. So I'm not sure how this is going to turn out, something a little bit different, but since we're getting nice light, I decided I'd give it a go. Then I forgot to mention, but one thing I really don't like about this scene is all the houses down there. When I do landscape photography, I mostly just like it without human presence at all. But unfortunately, there's nothing I can do about it just because this viewpoint, the town's down there, so you kind of got to photograph it because there's really no way in taking it out of the scene. I could eliminate it all in post, but I don't like to do that much of just spot healing and stuff like that. It wouldn't be a real image then, so I'll leave the town in there, but I really don't like it that much. Well, all the light is gone, the sunset, and even the clouds, the light in the clouds has gone away. So that's going to be all for today. Came away with a couple decent images, I think. The pano turned out pretty nice. And also just the landscape shot of Horseshoe Bay I kind of like. So not too bad. So I'm going to do the nice climb down there and then the good old hike back in the dark. Well, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you later.